Welcome to the Texas Secretary of State Elections Division.
Good afternoon, elections.
This is Joe.
Hello, Joe. It's Adrian Heath calling.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Very well, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
I was calling back again, just chasing a question I had about another opinion.
To intrude into someone's personal judgment about the place that they cleave to, since it'd be presumptuous of us to say that you don't cleave to a place because you haven't proven your loyalty to it firmly enough. Alaska, meanwhile, has really elaborate rules for residents because every year Alaska residents get an oil and gas royalty check.
The royalty checks, yeah. So they really want to know who they're giving money to rather than who they're taking it from.
Oh, exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, when money's involved, you become much more interested in whether people really live inside your boundaries or not.
Well, that sounds like it fits the bill in our case too.
Yeah,
really. I always wondered what the Secretary of State thought about the decision of the court in our thing, because he said that we'd obtained our voter registration fraudulently, which I just think was not true.
No, and that the decision was contrary to decades of court decisions about residency issues, and it was really an outlier. Basically, the way I read it was, developer is mad that their nose has been tweaked by some people who are protesting the profoundly undemocratic way that property taxes are imposed in Texas. And their embarrassment is such, and the fact that money is involved is such, that they call up their best buddy, somebody who has close political ties to them, and say, hey, Judge, we need you to make an example of these people.
I really believe that myself, actually.
Yeah, so utterly politically motivated, intellectually bankrupt decision that couldn't be reconciled with the way we generally view residents. Because, honest to God, what about some poor person? I mean, honest to God, what is it about you that they would say, oh, when he says that's his residence, he's just lying? Excuse me? I mean, to accuse somebody of fraud goes beyond just saying they've misunderstood, or that there's been some confusion on the law. I mean, most prosecutors won't touch a residency dispute with a 10-foot pole because they know that they're going to lose. To go so far in a civil case as to basically say, oh gosh, developer, this is just awful. I can't believe these master criminals managed to break into this hotel and claim residence. By not only am I throwing out the election, which, excuse me, isn't there a presumption in favor of a valid election and upholding the election results? Need to be extraordinary facts in order to...
I did not know that.
Yeah, to just set aside an election. Oh, say no more. Your election was tainted by the wrong kind of people. We know how exactly your election was supposed to turn out because obviously your election was just a sham, just a fiction created by the way that the state fails to process land development. Like, God forbid.
I've done, what I've done is I've done an open records request to get the records of the very original first residents and voters in that road utility district. I'm going to, they're going to get them out of storage, and I'm going to go down there and make copies of everything. And, I think that's going to be valid in our cases. The original residents, once we find out who they are, they were just there for probably, we'll see, maybe a week or two.
Right.
They did their work for the developer and goodbye Charlie,
Yeah.
And that was in 1991 and they still don't, they now have their other developer friend who's the voter that they've acknowledged, but, it's really not voter controlled, it's developer.
No, they became complacent because for years and years, Houston area real estate attorneys would give their clients bad advice. Say, don't worry a second about how you're going to finance this sewer line because all we'll have to do is have a, quote, election, unquote, and then you'll be able to do an assessment on all this commercial land. I mean, what's unusual about this particular development is that at one time it had some residential land and got rezoned for purely commercial use. And normally it's unimproved rural land that has nothing on it at all, and then gets turned into a residential territory.
No, but they literally carved this right out from the heart of the residential area,
Right. To go street by street, house by house, carefully excising any voters.
Any possibility of a voter, Or so they thought, anyway, I mean, even the voters that were there before us, that had been there for a long time, I've got an email from one of their attorneys saying, that he just questioned even their validity,
exactly.
Nobody is eligible unless they give them a dispensation,
Right. They're presumptively not eligible unless they've been vetted by the developer and given the okay and the secret handshake. But I mean, that's what made one of the kind of snotty arrogance of the decision that bothered me so much. No, you're not the right sort of person. We only wanted this election to be the right sort of person election. You haven't been vetted and approved by the person who stands to win the most money out of this. And thought, dirty judge, dirty developer, dirty everybody. If you're that scared, if you create such a powerful incentive to run a dirty election, then you should ask, why are you developing that land that way in the first place?
Well, the cronyism's pretty thick around here, I reckon. But, hey, look, thanks for listening to me, and for your insight. It's really appreciated.
Oh, sure. And I hope things work out.
Well, we haven't really been to court yet. We've had some court dates and this and that, and I don't know if our case ended up in Judge Fred Edwards' court, who is a pretty hard-nosed guy too, and part of the establishment, in my opinion. But a funny thing happened was my attorney ran against him for the Ninth District Court and won. And so, we did have a recusal hearing because he was running against him, and he wasn't my first attorney, so Judge Underwood denied it. Apparently there's something that's got to be the original attorney for recusal. So that was denied, but we're appealing it, and then my attorney, Kelly Case, will be on the bench in January, and the appeal will take that long, so Fred Edwards won't even hear anything to do with the case. And so that's much better, I think. And, we'll see. I believe we've got a good case, and I believe we're going to prevail. So.
Yeah.
But I am, I'm still digging up, looking for different aspects and things to researching and that, and we're finding good stuff, I think. So, anyway, appreciate your thoughts on that. Hey, thanks. I kept you on the phone for a whole hour, I think, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, I didn't have to talk to somebody about a local option liquor election. Well, and good luck.
Thanks, Mr. Calliope. I appreciate it.
Oh, you too. Okay. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.